Okay, welcome, folks. Anyway, again, my name's Mark Bodner, and I'm run you through a little workout here just to show you what I've got handy for today's workout. Uh, I've got a chair here. This chair has very sticky feet, but also doesn't have any arms on it, and it doesn't have any rollers. So it's important your chair doesn't have any rollers on it. And if it's got, you don't want any arms on your chair either, because you can bump your elbows on the chair. Now, this chair has very sticky feet. It's not going to go anywhere, but your chair at home might not have such sticky feet. So you want to make sure you brace your chair against a good solid piece of furniture, maybe up against a wall. The other thing I have here is a pair of dumbbells. Now, these are 5 pounds, but that might, if have at home is fine for you. And if you don't have any dumbbells, you might just grab a couple cans of soup or a couple water bottles, something of that nature. And I always like to keep, speaking of water bottles, I always like to keep a water bottle handy for my workouts. We will take little hydration breaks throughout the course of the workout. So I'm going to set these items to the side for the time being, and we're going to get up and we're going to get active. I'm going to move the chair out a little way. Now, I like to keep a chair handy for a lot of things, just mainly for balance. Okay, so if you start to do an activity, and we're going to be doing some leg swings in a minute, where we move the legs back and forth, and it's useful to have a chair for balancing purposes. And sometimes we actually sit in the chair as well. Okay, but for the time being, I'm going to set this chair off to the side, and we're going to get up and get active, and we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of exercise, and what, if you're not currently exercising, what might be some good guidelines to follow. So as Megan mentioned earlier, exercise, research is showing, is probably the #1 thing to slow cognitive decline. Basically, whatever is good for your body is also good for your brain. So we'll be moving our body. This workout will be a combination of kind of getting the heart rate up a little bit, but also we're going to incorporate some resistance training in here, or some strength training. Okay, so and some general guidelines for exercise. The ACSM, which is the American College of Sports Medicine, as well as the CDC, as well as the American Heart Association, recommends we get 150 minutes of a moderate activity in a week. And ideally, that would be like 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Or it could be maybe you get an hour, 3 days a week, or something like that. So anyway, so we're just going to get those knees up, get those arms moving. So we're also going to incorporate a little bit of what we call dual tasking. So dual tasking is, while we're doing a physical activity, we also engage in a mental activity. So what might that be? So as we're standing in a circle, and like here when we have the groups in the house, we're standing around the circle, we might be coming up with names in alphabetical order. Maybe it might be cars one day. It might be locations, countries, cities, towns, etc. I'm going to take that march up into a not light and bouncy jog, just getting up on the balls of feet, not fast and furious, just kind of light and bouncy. I'm going to keep that arm swing. Okay. And so when we're counting our reps, which we might try a little bit later on, instead of just counting reps to 10, we might count to 30 by threes, or we might count backwards from 29 by threes, just to give our brain another activity to do while we're working our bodies. So right now, this is all part of the warm-up. We just want to kind of get the heart rate moving just a little bit faster, get the lungs moving a little bit, get the blood circulating. Okay, so I'm a man of many mottos, and my first motto that I like to tell people is, I'm sure you've heard the expression, no pain, no gain. Well, my motto is no pain, no pain. So if something hurts, we don't do it, right? Okay, I can't see you guys at home like I can in the other classes, so I don't know, what's happening with your body and what's going on. But if something hurts, by all means, just stop doing it. When we start using the weights, if you pick up a weight and it feels a little heavy or something's starting to hurt, well, then by all means, just set the weight down. I'm going to change that movement into, I call this baby squats with big arm swings, a little bit of bend in the knees and the hips, lots of swing in the arms. So ideally, I was saying earlier, you want to try and get 150 minutes of physical activity in a week. And also, you want to try and get what we call strength training or resistance training in 2 days a week, where you're engaging all the major muscle groups of the body. And other things that are also important to include in your workout are working on things like balance, agility, and coordination. I'm going to add a little side step to my baby squat. I'm going to keep that nice big arm swing. And I'm going to change my arm movement. I'm going to do a kind of an overhead arm circle. Maybe you're going to slow the movement down just a little bit and start sweeping the arms overhead. Now, feel free to move at a pace that's comfortable for you. Don't feel like you have to keep up with me. Move at a speed that's comfortable for you. Again, I can't see you guys out there, so I'm not sure how fast you can move, and you can always move a little faster than me as well as a little bit slower. I'm going to change that arm movement. I'm going to kind of reach across, left hand to the right, right hand to the left, adding a little more rotation to the trunk. Notice I'm still keeping my feet moving, shifting that weight from side to side. I'm going to do some what I call hip circles. So feet about shoulder width apart, hands on the hips. I'm going to start moving those hips in all directions. Nice big circles. And I'm going to change the direction of those hip circles. This is where the chair is going to come in handy. So I'm going to grab my chair. I'm going to do a called leg swings. I'm going to stand behind my chair and I'm going to take the right leg. I'm just going to swing that nice and loose from side to side. Just think loose. Just kind of still loosen up those hip sockets a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take that same leg and I'm going to swing it forward and backward. And I'm going to swing my opposite arm with that leg. I'm going to take leg number 2 now, swing that from side to side. And I'm going to take that same leg and swing it forward and backward. All right, and done with the leg swings. I'm going to work on the neck and shoulders here a little bit. I'm going to get a little closer so you can get a good view. So before I do any neck and shoulder stretches, I want to make sure I'm not slouching, right? I want to make sure I sit up or stand up nice and straight. Oh, by the way, and if you feel like you need to sit down for any of the exercises, feel free. I'm going to show you some seated modifications once we actually get into the meat of the workout. So I want to posture up, as I like to say. Nice straight back, nice straight spine. We're going to move the neck a little bit. So exhale, I'm going to gently draw my chin down toward my chest. And inhale, and I'm going to gently look up toward the ceiling. So your mantra during your neck stretches is slow, smooth, and gentle. And again, if something hurts, remember our first motto, no pain, no pain. And we'll just let that one go and jump back in when we're ready. And once again, going down and going up and then back to neutral. All right, again, posturing up. I'm going to do some neck rotations now. So on the exhalation, I'm going to slowly look out over the right shoulder. And inhale back to center. Exhale slowly and gently take it to the left and back. And again, to the right and center and left and center and again right. And back and left and back and again right. And back and left. Let's go one more to the right. And one more back to the left. All right, so lateral flexion or tilt. So I'm going to gently take my right ear toward my right shoulder and then back on up and then exhale and gently taking it to the left. Inhale up and again right. And up and again left. And up and again right. And up and left. And up and right. And up and one more to the left. and back on up we come. All right, shoulder rolls. So I'm going to take my shoulder blades, I'm going to roll them forward, then I'm going to bring them up, and then I'm going to roll them back, then I'm going to take them down. And again, forward, up, back, and down, and forward, and up, and back, and down, and forward, up, back, and down. I'm going to add the elbows, do half an arm length, forward, up, back, and down. Inhale, up, and bring it way back. Stretch that chest open and down, and forward, and up, back, and down, and forward, up, back. I'm going to stretch the arms and the fingers out. Look at these big hands, right? Big hands. Big breath in as I reach up and exhale back and down. And again, forward and up, and back and down, and forward, and up, and back, and down, forward, up, back, and down. I'm going to go the other way. Shoulder blades only to start with. So I'm going to go back, up, forward, and down, and back, and up, and forward, and down, and back, up, forward, and down, and back, up, forward. Let's add those elbows back, up, forward, and down, and back, and up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, and back, up, forward. Let's stretch those arms and fingers out. Big breath in as we inhale back and up. Exhale forward and down. And again, back and up. And forward and down. And back and up. Forward, down. One more. Back, up, forward, and down. And shake it out a little bit there. All right, let's go ahead and get a little sip of water before we get going into the meat of the program here. Take a quick little hydration break. All right, so in today's workout, what we're going to do is what I call exercise clusters. Now we're going to simplify things at first. I'm going to take one basic exercise. The first exercise is going to be a squat, which will start from the chair. And the second exercise is going to be a bicep curl. And the third one is going to be an overhead shoulder press. So what we're going to do initially is look at all those exercises individually and really kind of focus on our technique. And then after we've done all three of those exercises, we're going to put all three of those exercises together into what I call an exercise cluster, or a group of those exercises. And we'll perform all three of them, one right after another. Okay, so I'm going to start off in my chair. And I always like to teach the squat to people in the chair to start with, because two of the important things we want to make sure we're doing in the squat when we go to have a sit or we go to squat. So a squat typically starts in an upright position. And so when I'm coming down, I want to make sure I'm moving my hips backward rather than my knees forward. So you can see my knees came forward a little bit, but my hips went back a lot. So the chair helps teach us to have our hips back rather than our knees forward. So I'm going to get right up on the front edge of that chair. And before I even try to stand all the way up, I'm just going to reach out my hands. I'm going to lean forward. The second point I want to make is I want to keep my back nice and straight when I'm doing my squat. I don't want to be rounding the back. So I'm going to reach my arms forward as kind of like ballast. I'm going to get my body weight over my legs. I'm just going to pick my backside up 2 inches, and then I'm going to put it right back down. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to take a breath. And I'm going to reach out, lean. I'm going to pause. So I'm not using momentum. Push 2 inches, and then once again, back down. And once again, I'm going to lean and reach. Backside up 2 inches, right back down. And let's do another one just like that. So reaching 2 inches and then back down. Okay, this time, just watch for the first time. I'm going to reach and I'm going to start off at 2 inches, but then I'm going to drive through the heels and stand myself up. Okay, and then I'm going to reach forward once again for arms that are kind of using them for ballast. I'm going to push those hips way back. And then I'm back to 2 inches, and I'm going to have a sit back and take a breath. All right, so let's reach out. Chest is forward over the legs. Pick the backside up 2 inches. Now drive through your heels, stand all the way up. We're going to reach the arms out, back to 2 inches, and then all the way down. Sit back, take a breath, catch a little breather there. Once again, reach out. Torso over the legs, hips up 2 inches. Drive through the heels, stand all the way up. Reach back out, back to 2 inches, and then all the way back down. And again, reach. I'm going to put a little pause here, so I'm not using momentum. Hips up 2 inches, drive through the heels, stand up, reach the arms out, back to 2 inches, and all the way down. And let's go one more just like that. reaching out, up to 2 inches, drive through the heels, stand up. Once again, reach, push the hips back to 2 inches, and all the way down. All right, let's take a little breather here. Okay, in a second, we're gonna add the bicep curl to that and the overhead press. So let's take a look at the bicep curl. So I'm gonna grab my dumbbells. And again, you can grab whatever you have handy there. And if you don't have any kind of weights, you can just make a fist and kind of flex the muscle a little bit, right? You heard the expression, pump up your guns, okay? Just kind of flex that muscle instead of doing an actual bicep curl with weights. Okay, and we can actually do these sitting down, or we can do them standing. I'll leave that up to you whether you want to sit or stand for these. Okay, so I'm going to start off sitting, and like I said, if you want to stand while we do these. Okay, I'm going to do a particular kind of bicep curl. So as I pick the weights up, watch how I rotate the wrist, and then I'm going to turn the hands to parallel, and then I'm going to do what we call a hammer curl on the way down. Now, typically in class, to make things more interesting, instead of just counting to 10 by 1, we're going to do 10 reps of these. Instead of counting to 10 by 1s, I'm going to count to 30 by 3s, and I encourage you to do the same at home. So I'm going to give you a little momentary pause. I'm going to bring the weights up, okay, and then I'm going to call out a number, turn the wrist to parallel, and bring it back down. So let's try counting to 30 by 3s, all right? So bringing the weight up, all right, give me a number, and then parallel, exhale, back down. So there's 3, and then up we come, okay, and parallel, that's 6, and down, and up. Again, notice I'm sitting up nice and straight, hands to parallel, 9, and up, number 12, and down, and again up. You want to what I call a nice proud chest. Sit up nice and straight, and down. That was 15, and up, parallel. There's 18, and again up, 21, and down, up, 24, and down. We got 2 more, up, parallel, 27, and down, and 1 more, up, and there's 30, and then back down we come. All right, so we're going to use a different muscle group now. We're going to work on the shoulders and the triceps. That last one is basically for the biceps. Okay, so I'm going to do what I call it's a shoulder press, but it's a very specific kind of shoulder press. It's known as an Arnold press, named after Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so this Arnold press, it involves, you can see my knuckles are facing forward, my palms are backward. As I press the weight overhead, I'm going to rotate the palms out. Now, there may be some of you at home that might have some shoulder challenges. So again, go back to our first rule, no pain, no pain. So if the shoulder's bothering you, just either set the weight down. If it's still bothering you, then just obviously do not do that exercise on whatever limb that's affecting. Okay, so this action of pushing the weight out and rotating is actually a little easier on the shoulder socket than the standard shoulder press, which looks like something like this. Okay, and if that works better for you, you're welcome to do that, but I'm gonna go with the Arnold press. Okay, we're gonna do 10 of these again. So this time I'm gonna start at 29 and count backward by 3. So every time I push that weight overhead, as I bring the weight up, I'm going to call out a number. All right, on your mark, get set, and let's go. So weights are up. There's 29, and I'm going to rotate the palms back down. And once again, pushing up. There's 26, and down, and up. 23, and down, and up. 20, and down, and up. 17, and down, and up. 14, yes. I'm losing count myself there. And up we go. 11, and down, and up. 8, and down. Couple more. Up we go. There's 5, and down. And we got 1 more, folks. Up we go. And 2, and weights are down. I'm let the weights rest in the chair for a second and do a little bit of what I call active recovery. So instead of just stopping completely, I want to try to keep the heart rate up a little bit. Okay, actually, if you stop completely, it's a little bit harder to get going again. So we don't want to just completely kind of relax just yet until we get to the end of our program. All right, so now I'm going to put those 3 exercises together. I'm going to show you 2 options. One where we come all the way up to standing, and then one where you can you do the 2-inch hip lift, and then you go back, have a sit, and then you do your bicep curl and your shoulder press from the chair. So the standing version, and I'm actually going to have a sit first because I want to make sure I know where that chair is. So I don't want to be standing in front of my chair and then go to have a sit, and then the chair not be exactly where I think it is. So I'm going to start seated, and then I'm going to go ahead and stand up. Now, from the standing version, again, I really want to push my hips back as I'm having a seat. Now, I'm going to use the chair as a target, not so much to sit in, but just a target. So maybe your backside gets all the way down to the chair. Maybe it doesn't. All right, no big deal if it doesn't. So I'm going to push the hips back and just let the arms hang from the shoulder sockets. I'm lightly touch my backside to that chair. Then I'm going to stand up, and then I'm going to do my bicep curl, and then my overhead press. And then I'm going to bring the weights all the way back down before I start the next rep. Or you can start from the chair, lean into it, do your 2-inch hip lift, right? Bring your backside back down, and then seated, do your bicep curl, followed by the overhead press. So that's our first cluster where we put the 3 exercises together. I think I'm going to do the first 5 reps seated from the chair, and then I'm going to do the next 5 reps from the standing version. Okay, so from the seated version, again, I'm just going to come forward, lift the hips up 2 inches, bring them back down, nice proud chest, bicep curl, overhead press, weights all the way back down. And again, leaning, 2-inch hip lift, hips are back down, bicep curl, overhead press, weights all the way down. And again, leaning into it, 2-inch lift, buttocks down, chest up, bicep curl, overhead press, weights are down. And again, lean, hips up, buttocks down, chest up, bicep curl, overhead press. I'm going to do one more like this, then I'm going to do the standing version. All right, so once again, 2-inch hip lifts, buttocks down, bicep curl, overhead press, and weights are down. Next 5 I'm going to do from the standing position. So again, pushing the hips back. I'm going to bring my buttocks. I'm just do a little tap with the buttocks on the chair, and I'm going to stand tall, bicep curl, overhead press, weights are down. And again, hips are back, chest stays lifted, touch, stand tall, bicep curl, overhead press, weights down. And again, repeat. Hips are back, light touch, stand tall, bicep curl, overhead press, and down. And again, squat, stand, curl, press. How about one more, folks? Last one, make it your best. Squat, stand tall, bicep curl, overhead press, and weights are down. All right, so I'm going to set the weights down in the chair. Again, just a little bit of active recovery here, marching in place. Again, just kind of keep that heart rate going just a little bit. Next exercise cluster is going to consist, again, of 3 exercises. The first one is what we call a deadlift, which I'm going to, or just a hip hinge. So let me show you the hip hinge. So the feet are going to be roughly about hips distance apart. And important points I want you to take away from this. Notice I have a slight bend in the knees, and the deep bend is in the hips. So in the squat, my torso stayed more or less upright. You can see in the hip hinge, I'm lowering my torso so it's almost parallel with the floor, maybe not quite. So a little bend in the knees, deep bend in the hips, but another important point I want you to notice is my back is nice and straight. What I don't want, especially if you're tighter in your hamstrings, that's why I put a little bend in the hips. If you're tighter in the hamstrings, you might try and go lower by rounding your back, but we really definitely want to avoid that. Okay, so let's do a couple of hip hinges here. So again, feet hips distance, slight bend in the knees, hands on the hips to start with. I'm going to push the hips back, hinging forward, lowering my torso, but keeping that back flat, and then bringing myself back up. And once again, hinging, and up we come. And again, hinge, and up, and hinge, and up. Let's go one more like that, and I'm going to add a little weight to that. One more hip hinge, and then on up. Okay, I'm going to grab my dumbbells, and that doesn't mean you have to grab any weight. You can continue to do exactly what you just did. So I'm just going to kind of let the weights hang from the shoulder sockets. So again, I'm hinging, hips move back, torso hinges forward, and again, notice the nice straight flat back, and I'm going to bring myself back on up, and every time I stand up, I'm going to reemphasize that nice proud chest. Again, inhale, we're going to inhale down, exhale as you pull yourself out on up. And again, only go so low as your hamstrings allow, right? Don't try to go lower. No extra points for touching your toes or anything like that. Hinging and up. Let's go 2 more like that. Hip hinge and up. And last one like that. Hip hinge and up we come. All right, the next exercise we're going to do is called a bent over row. So to do the bent over row, I have to move into that hip hinge. So just watch for a moment. I'm going to move in that hip hinge again. Little bend in the knees, deep bend in the hips, arms hang from the shoulder socket. Watch how I pull the weights up toward my lower ribs. I'm not pulling them forward toward the collarbones. I'm pulling them up toward the bottom ribs, and I'm lowering them down slow with control. So you find yourself getting into that position, and maybe your back gets a little cranky or something like that. By all means, just simply stop the exercise or put your weights down and just go back to the hip hinge. All right, so I'm going to hinge forward and nice straight back. I'm going to bring those weights up toward the rib cage. I'm shooting for 10 here. Why don't I count to 40 by 4? So there was 4 and up. Okay, that's 8 and down and up. 12 and down, up. 16 and down and up. 20 and down, up. 24 and down, up. 28 and down, up. 32 and down and up. 36 and down, last one, up. And 40, and lower your weights before you try and pull yourself all the way on up. All right, so there's 2 out of the 3 exercises of the cluster. Next one's called an upright row. So the last one was for the back and the biceps. The deadlift is more for your glutes and your hamstrings. So the upright row is more of a shoulder exercise, particularly the deltoid and the upper traps. Okay, so this is the upright row. So I'm going to have the weights in front of my legs. Again, I want that nice proud chest, shoulders up, and notice I bring the weights underneath the chin. I don't try and bring them up here. I just take them right underneath the chin. Notice the elbows are just a tad higher than the weights. And I'm not going very high with the elbows, just maybe about shoulder height, maybe an inch or 2 higher than that. All right, let's shoot for 10 of those. And again, to make the counting a little more interesting, this time we're going to count backward by 4s, and I'm going to start at 39. All right, so again, standing tall, nice straight back, nice proud chest, exhaling up. Give me the number on top. So there's 39 and down and up. 35 and down and up. 31 and lower, up. 27 and down and up. 23 and down and up. 19 down, up. 15 down and up. 11 down and up. 7 down and up. And 3 and done with that one. All right, so take a little break while I give you a demonstration of how I'm going to put all 3 of those exercises together. So I'm going to start by doing my hip hinge. While I'm bent over, I'm going to do my bent over row. I'm going to lower the weights, and I'm going to stand up and do my deadlift. And then once I'm upright, I'm going to do my upright row. So that's how we're going to put those 3 together. Excuse me. All right, so feet hips distance apart, slight bend in the knees, proud chest, straight back, hip hinge. While we're down there, I'm going to do my bent over row. And then I'm going to lower my weights. Now, as I do my deadlift, I'm going to bring my weights up in front of my legs. And I'm going to go right into my upright row and then lower the weights back down before we start our next hip hinge. And again, hinging. We're bent over. Bent over row. Lower your weights. Stand tall. Upright row. And again, weights down. And again, hinge. Bent over row. Weights are down. Stand tall. Upright row. And lower. And hinge. Bent over row. And down. Stand tall. Upright row. Weights are down. There's 4 again. We're shooting for 10. Bend over hip hinge. Bend over row. Weights are down. Stand tall. Upright row. Halfway there. Hip hinge. Bend over row. Weights down. Stand tall. Upright row. And again, if something starts getting cranky, just set the weights down. All right. Once again, hip hinge. Bend over row. Stand tall. Upright row. Weights are down. And hinge. Bend over row. Weights down. Stand tall. Upright row. 2 more, folks. Hip hinge. Bent over row. Weights are down. Stand tall. Upright row. Last one. Make it your best. Hinge. Bent over row. Weights down. Stand tall. Upright row. and weights are down. Actually, we're done with the weights, so we're not going to need the weights for the last little exercise cluster. All right, let's go back to marching in place. So the next thing we're going to do is a chest press or a push-up. So I'm going to want my chair for that. So again, this chair has very sticky feet. I know it's not going to go anywhere. So make sure your chair is not going anywhere. You can, like I said, back it up against a heavy piece of furniture like a sofa, or put it up against the wall so you know that chair is not going anywhere. The other thing I'm going to do, you can see my hands on the corner of the chair. I'm going to bring one foot forward. So again, your foot here is your safety net in case the chair starts moving, or maybe you get down here and you just don't have the upper body strength to push yourself back up with just using your arms and your chest. So you can kind of push a little bit with that front leg to bring yourself back up. Okay, so a word about shoulders when I'm doing my chest press. Okay, so I call this the vulture shoulders. So we don't want vulture shoulders when we do our chest press. We want to make sure we pull our shoulder blades back and down. And what I don't want is my elbows flaring out to the side. I'm not going to let those elbows go any more than like 45 degrees out away from my rib cage. So just watch for the first couple here. So I'm going to put one foot forward again. Shoulders are down. Elbows are turning back. I'm going to inhale, lower down. Exhale, I'm going to push back up, keeping those shoulder blades down and those elbows in kind of close. Again, we're going to shoot for 10. So why don't we count? Counting to 50 is too easy by 5. So let's make it a little more interesting. Why don't we count to 60 by 6s this time? All right, so we're going to inhale down. Okay, as you exhale, push yourself up, give you a number on top. So that's 6. Again, inhale down. Exhale up. There's 12. Inhale down and up. 18 and down and up. 24 down, up. 30 down, up. 36 down, up. 42 down, up. 48 down, up. 54, last one down, up. And 60. All righty. Again, a little active recovery, just kind of marching in place. Okay, the next one we're going to do is called a mountain climber. So I'm going to have the hands on the chair in push-up position again, and then I'm going to bring the right knee up, or left knee up toward the left elbow, and then right knee to the right elbow. So I'm going to do 5 aside like that, and then I'm going to do 5 where I take the knee across the body. I'm going to take the left knee toward the right elbow, and then the right knee toward the left elbow. Okay, so counting, I'd like to mix it up a little bit on the counting. So every time I lift my left leg up, I'm going to say a number. Every time I lift my right leg up, I'm going to say a letter. So it's going to be 1A, 2B, 3C, etc. All right, let's get in our plank position. Again, shoulder blades are down, elbows are back. So left knee to left elbow, there's 1. And then now right knee to right elbow, and there's A. Again, left to left, there's 2, and right, B. Left, 3, right, C. Left, 4, right, D. And left, 5, right, and E. All right, so I'm really going to test your mind right here. You might feel your brain sweating on this next one. Okay, so I'm going to take now the left knee to the right elbow, and I'm going to start at 5 and E and count backwards. Okay, so when I take the left knee to right elbow, there's 5, and now left knee to right elbow, E. Okay, left knee to right, there's 4, right knee to left, D, left knee to right, 3, almost forgot myself, right knee to left, C, left knee to right, 2, right knee to left, B, 1 more each side, so left to right, there's 1, and right to left, and A. All right, again, active recovery. So I see we're just about running out of time here, so we're going to go ahead and finish our last cluster. We're going to keep the counting simple this time. Actually, I'm just not even going to bother to count it all. It's already confusing enough as it is. All right, so I'm going to do my chest press, and then I'm going to do right leg up, left leg up. Then I'm going to do another chest press. And again, if you need to put that foot forward, do so. And then right knee up, left knee up. All right, let's just do a handful of those and not worry about counting in any particular manner. All right, so get in your push-up position. Again, you can keep a foot forward as needed. Go ahead and do your push-up. And then bring left knee to left elbow, right knee to right elbow. And get another push-up in there. This time I'm going to raise the right leg first, and then the left. And again, push-up. Left arm, left knee, right knee, push-up. Right knee, left knee. Again, another push-up. Left knee, right knee, push-up. Right knee, left knee. Let's go one more each side. Push-up. Left knee, right knee. And let's go one more. Push-up. Right knee and left knee. And then that'll do it, folks. All right, that's going to do it for the actual resistance training part. So we're going to do just a quick little stretch. Let's keep our chair handy for a stretch. I'm not quite done with that. I'm going to use that for my leg stretches. All right, stretch our shoulders out. I'm going to bring my right arm across my chest. I'm going to reach out underneath that elbow, just above the elbow. I'm going to hug that arm into the chest. The target muscle is the deltoid right here, which I'm stretching. Just hold that for a few seconds. Don't forget to breathe. And I'm going to change arms, and then left arm across the chest, right arm hugs it in. All right, and then tricep stretch. If you can get your hand behind your head, so you're going to reach back there, and then with the other hand, I'm going to grab that elbow and pull it back a little further, and gently bring my head back up against my arm. And the target muscle is the tricep right here. And on the side too. All right, so left arm up behind the head. You can't quite grab the elbow, you can grab the hand and pull it back a little bit, like so. Okay, and the next stretch is for the bicep, forearm, and wrist and fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and straighten that elbow, externally rotate that arm, and then use the left hand to gently draw the right fingers back. Okay, and let's go ahead and turn the other one. All right, a couple quick ones for the back and the legs. So I'm going to just sit on the front edge of my chair. I'm going to kind of drape my body over my legs and just let my head and shoulders and arms just kind of hang heavy. Enjoy some nice deep breaths while you're there. And then if we come quick one for the hamstrings, I'm going to go ahead and straighten this leg. It's important I'm right on the front edge of my chair. If I scoot back, it's going to force a buckle in my knee, which I really don't want. So I want that knee straight, but notice also the ankle is flexed. I'm going to lift the chest. I'm going to gently just hinge forward till I feel a nice stretch in the back of that leg. All right, up we come. All right, and then leg number two. Again, knee is straight, ankle is flexed. Gently hinge from the hips. Come on down any amount comfortable. And on up we come. So I believe that's all we have time for today, folks. But thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. And hope to see you back here in the future.
Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you all for coming into today's session. It's always so inspiring to be with our whole community that really does have a commitment in brain health. So thank you all for your dedication to our sessions and to your own physical health. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. We'll be returning with another Tai Chi session. Tai Chi is not just a good way to stay physically active, but also helps with balance, flexibility, mental clarity. So we'll continue talking in the month of August about physical activities and brain health. Thank you all again for your enthusiasm and your commitment to staying healthy. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we can't wait to see you next time. Thanks, Mark.
All righty. All right, folks. Thanks, folks.